So now we would start by creating our function. So this function is essentially needed inside the struct, but I'm starting out with creating it outside, but it doesn't really matter. So let's just start with the function itself. And the first thing you do is use a guardlet for the URL, and in place of URL we would paste that URL that we get from the website. So this was actually the right URL. So that's what we are doing right now. Since they were not in double inverted commas, I'm doing that. Also, we would add later on in our app a text field functionality. So that would just allow users to write anything of their choice to see news related to it. So we would further work with that as well. For now, let's just complete our this. Since we have used guardlet, we have to give it an else condition as well, which would display the error. So let's just do that. Coming here is like we have passed the URL stage. I mean the URL is fine now, so we would fetch it. We would further proceed with creating a request, and for that purpose we create a new constant and it asks for stuff. What we have essentially done here is create a URL session which would just use that data and then use it to decode the web API, right? So that's all for now. and then we would be use furthermore that since everything of this thing was acting on the back thread, it's not exactly acting on the main thread, so we need to bring it back to the main thread. So in order to do that, we need to use dispatch queue.main.async. And why async is because it means like complete the task and side by side do this as well. If you use sync, it would just further wait for one task to complete, then the other would proceed, and that way your app would become really slow. So make sure you use async. And dispatch queue.main, but the only reason we are using this is because we need to show this value that we are getting from the web API inside our UI, right? So our UI works on the main thread, so we are bringing our data to main thread as well. So that is why dispatch queue.main.async. Now let's just take this thing and put it inside the struct. Also, since we need to create an instance of that result structure that we are using inside our function as well. So let's just quickly do that and proceed with completing our function. Now we are completely done with our function, so we'll move on to the other things later on in the next video.